Oh, would you look at that? My old theory ideas from 2 years ago. Is Mokuba Kisara? Oh my god! I was such a cringe fest back then. DJ, look! Is Mokuba Kisara? How stupid! Am I right? Why are you giving me that look?
Well, what if we got that idea, right?
Oh lord.
Convince a bunch of people
No.
that Mokuba is
DJ,
Kisara.
Please, no!
Have you guys ever wondered why Mokuba doesn't feature in the ancient past? Well, what if I tell you he does, just not in the form you'd expect, in the form of Kisara. We have discovered undeniable proof that Mokuba is actually Kisara. But before we dive in, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, because this kind of top secret information will be posted regularly on this channel. But I do admit, from an outsider perspective, this theory seems a little far-fetched. Well, I was the same way until Konami released a certain Yugioh card, Mystical Elf, White Lightning, and then it all became clear. So make sure you watch until the end of the video and maybe even you can comprehend the genius that is this theory. Now, Mokuba is Seto's biological baby brother, and they have been together since they were little kids. Mokuba is the more emotional brother and is one of the main reasons Kaiba is who he is. Now Kisara, similarly to Mokuba, is also on the emotional side and also plays a huge part in the path Seto takes. Both Mokuba and Kisara embody the same energy. Both characters rely on Seto to save them, as well as also saving Seto at times. When we see the first interaction between Seto and Kisara, Seto is a teenager and saves Kisara from a bandit camp that had captured her.
What are you doing? Shh! Saving you. Let's go.
Hey! Going somewhere!
Come on!
Following on from that, Seto's next interaction with Kisara is saving her from an angry mob of people, and then again he saves Kisara from being sent to the shadows by the hands of Akhenaten. Similarly to Seto and Mokuba, when they were kids in the orphanage, Seto protected Mokuba from the bullies in the schoolyard. And then several times after that, when Mokuba was harmed or kidnapped by his rivals. Now this gets to a point where the scenes are almost identical.
Hang on to me with all your might!
And don't get me wrong, it goes both ways. Kisara and Mokuba are also responsible for saving Seto. We see in multiple scenes Kisara channeling her inner monster spirit, the Blue Eyes White Dragon, in order to save Seto in multiple occasions.
What is that thing? A monster!
And again, the scenes which portray them are almost identical, as both Kisara and Mokuba step in front of Seto to sacrifice themselves.
No! Mokuba!
Coincidence? I think not. Now, Mokuba may not be able to summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon, however, he helps Kaiba in other ways. When Kaiba was being abused with the strict tutoring of Gozaburo, it was Mokuba who saved Kaiba from breaking point with no other than the Blue Eyes White Dragon card, resembling how Kisara summoned the Blue Eyes to save Kaiba all those years ago. I believe Mokuba, Kisara and Seto have a symbiotic relationship which transcends time itself, a bond which brings out the side of Seto Kaiba we rarely see, his emotional side. Seto, a strong, proud guardian, working side by side with the Pharaoh. However, the only time we see Seto being emotional is directly linked to Kisara. Similar to Seto in present day, he is almost a different person when in connection to Mokuba. Now I feel the similarities between the characters are too common for it to be a coincidence. There are a few small hidden tropes throughout the series and manga which confirm these suspicions. For example, in the manga Transcend Game, Kaiba achieves dimensional ascension and heads into the Duel Links system. However, as he heads deeper into the Duel Links, he surpasses human limits, which puts his life in danger. As the situation grows critical, Seto's blue eyes transforms into the shape of a girl, with long flowing hair. Kisara, almost warning Seto of the danger ahead, and in the literal next scene of the manga, we see Mokuba shutting down the system, in unison with the appearance of Kisara, and yet again we see Kisara and Mokuba attempting to save Seto's life. Still not convinced? Well, this is where shit gets crazy, because I don't think Kisara's car, which is the monster that inhabits their soul, is naturally the Blue Eyes White Dragon. I think the power of the Blue Eyes White Dragon was sealed within Kisara as a young child, similar to how Naruto had the power of the Nine-Tailed Fox sealed inside of him. Having the blue eyes sealed within her, I believe over time seeped into her own soul and altered her physique, giving her the traits we see today, white hair and the blue eyes. Now I'll tell you why I think this. The blue eyes has the power of a god. We see this when the White Lightning attack clashes with the obelisk, and again when Blue Eyes clashes with Zork. The power of the blue eyes is incredible. However, people's ka are also meant to reflect the nature of the person it comes from. The very card text of the blue eyes states, this legendary dragon is a powerful engine of destruction, which in my opinion doesn't reflect Kisara's soul. The ka, which in this sense is the blue eyes white dragon, is meant to gain strength from the person's ba, which is their soul, because the power of the person's soul determines the strength of the monster. We see this with Shimon when he summons Exodia against Zork. Exodia is near invincible, however because his power was being drawn from a single human, who at that point was old and weak, Exodia's power was also weakened.
Exodia, how do you expect to overpower me? You draw your strength from the life force of a single human. My power is derived from the very darkness itself.
So for this to make sense, Kisara has to have a soul which can fuel a mighty creature like the Blue Eyes White Dragon, which like we established has godlike abilities. Even if this was possible, another factor for people's ka is the fact that when the monsters are hurt, the user is also hurt as their soul is connected to that creature. However, in the fight against Akhenaten, where Kisara uses the Blue Eyes White Dragon, the Blue Eyes is hit with the spellbinding circle, as well as being sealed away in front of Kisara. However, she seems unaffected by this, almost like the Blue Eyes is a separate entity and doesn't draw its power directly from Kisara. Now, where am I going with this? Well, now that we can establish that Kisara is a vessel for the Blue Eyes White Dragon, it explains why she was treated so badly. As Kisara, like Naruto, was a necessary evil in people's eyes, a way to control the Blue Eyes White Dragon, a powerful weapon, but also an individual which people were scared of and grew to resent. But the question is, why did they choose Kisara to host the Blue Eyes White Dragon? And how does this have anything to do with Mokuba being Kisara? Well, for Kisara to be chosen, she must have had an incredible soul. A soul which I believe, if it ever had a physical appearance, would have taken the shape of the mystical elf. The card text for the mystical elf reads, a delicate elf that lacks offense, but had a terrific defense, backed by mystical power. Does that sound like anyone we know? The mystical elf prides itself in being strong in defense, similar to how Kisara dedicated her whole life to protect Seto.
No matter what it takes, I won't allow him to hurt you, Seto.
And even the resemblance is blatantly clear between the two, similar to how Mana's car, the Dark Magician Girl, bears a strong resemblance to her. And I believe it was the mystical power in question which made her the perfect vessel to contain the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now this brings us perfectly onto the card I showed right at the beginning of the video, Mystical Elf White Lightning. This card was inspired by the anime duel where Tem dueled Ghost Kaiba and boosts the Blue Eyes using the power of the Mystical Elf. However, if you put this card up with the context of this video, in the image you see the two halves which embodies Kisara's soul, the Mystical Elf, protector of Seto, and the Blue Eyes White Dragon with its white lightning which would destroy anything in Seto's path. Now to answer the question you've all been waiting for, how is Kisara Mokuba? Well, to answer this question, we need to reference an arc called Legendary Heroes. In this arc, Seto, after Duelist Kingdom, enters a virtual reality game he had created. Seto had created Mokuba as an in-game character, which is there to assist the players of the game. And they are surprised when they find out that Seto had created him as a female character, Princess Adina. Now later on in the storyline, it is revealed that Princess Adina, which is the Mokuba clone, is secretly a monster the entire time. Can you guess which monster? That's right, it's the mystical elf.
Remarkable. The princess is actually the mystical elf.
I think he created what he saw in Mokuba, which turned out to be the mystical elf, as a homage to Kisara. And this was all created subconsciously by Seto. The same way Seto was shown the Blue Eyes White Dragon in his vision against Ishizu in Battle City, I believe the same thing occurred when creating Princess Adina. Mokuba is the ancient embodiment of Kisara, and a part of Kisara's soul is the mystical elf. This is actually one of the reasons I think Mokuba was the one who inspired Seto by drawing the Blue Eyes White Dragon, as it's all connected.
It's the monster I drew for Seto. The one that he always wanted. I tried my best to help him get it. And now, thanks to my help, he has one in his deck.
Additional proof of this is when Kisara uses her power to heal Seto and vanquish the darkness inside of him, which took the form of Eknodin. The blue sparkly essence which showered over Seto was the same blue sparkly essence the mystical elf used to revive Yugi's friends. Which actually brings me onto the third Yugioh card, the Gift of the Mystical Elf, a card which is used for healing. And that, guys, is why I think Mokuba is Kisara. If you like this video, please make sure you like and subscribe. Also, a big shout out to Rin the Rebel for the video idea and also helping with the video. Until next time, guys.